going on, people? It's Guns Roger from NextGenTactics, and I've got a fairly, I find it very interesting discussion topic for us. I'm sure it'll, create a lot of areas that you guys can sort of place your comments on and your opinions, and that's kind of what I like to do with these types of videos. Anyway, as you can see by the title, it's it's not misleading by any means, and I'll put a link to the article where it kind of spurred this discussion topic that I'm bringing to you guys now. And it was the former, I think, deputy president for Sony Computer Entertainment America. Damn it, I can't remember his name. Irrelevant, whatever. Anyway, he left Sony and he's now with Capcom. Anyway, there was a discussion with CBG, which, of course, the link is in the description. That's what the article is. And he talks about the high costs of developing these super consoles. And we all know that, and whether you know it or not, Sony lost a lot of money. The development of the PlayStation 3 cost a tremendous amount of money. It was the cell processor, integration of the Blu-ray disc player, and everything else. It's very expensive to develop that. Now, with Microsoft, they kind of went a different route, but equally costly for them. The cost of the console itself for Sony was quite high, and they actually even lost money on that. I mean, the technology that they put in there took them a long time, and I don't even know if either Microsoft or Sony really has recouped their losses from the development of these consoles. I don't know. I don't follow that. All I know is that they did lose money a lot in the beginning. Sony, by the extreme high cost of development because of the technology inside the PlayStation, and then Xbox, while it didn't spend a lot of time on that and actually was able to get a year jump start on selling, which is a great marketing tool, but they were plagued with hardware issues. Because they didn't spend the time, Sony said, okay, we're going to spend the time on creating the perfect product, lost that marketing edge, but they had less hardware issues, so less repair costs. They just had hardware costs that caused them losses. Whereas Xbox, Microsoft said, let's put this out, the system will run, we'll be able to hit the ground running. But then they were plagued with what was known as the Red Ring of Death. Now, a lot of those issues have been resolved over time. Either system's still going to have hardware malfunctions. That's just the way it is. You're going to have PlayStations crash, you're still going to have Xboxes crash as well, but not, for Xbox, not near the same frequency as it was in the beginning. And you know what? It turned out they had a lot of costs. They lost a tremendous amount of money, even though they got that huge jump start a year before PlayStation or whatever it was, because of the manufacturing, the recalls that had to come in, and it was under warranty, so they had to keep on fixing those things, and that's a lot of friggin' money. That's a lot of consoles that crashed. So that's been resolved. And anyway, the bottom line is that the cost of creating these consoles is extremely expensive. And so the discussion topic that this individual from, former president or whatever of Sony basically said that it would not be unfathomable, it wouldn't be unbelievable, might be a little bit easier, if Microsoft and Sony decided, you know what, we need to come together and create a super gaming console. And the reason being is because of the cost. But it's not just the cost of the actual consoles. Now, while its entry into the video gaming world is in its infancy, the online or on-live gaming console-less thing, the one that goes on the internet or whatever, and it's just a little, basically a modem and a controller, wireless controller. It's very, very new. People are getting on board, but you have to understand the production costs for that hardware significantly lower than anything that either Microsoft or Sony can compete with. You're talking about just a modem, a tiny little black modem that plugs in and that's it. And the selling feature of it is that a lot of these big developers are already on board with them. They already have, there's, Mafia 2, Kane and Lynch or whatever. A lot of the big names are going there. They're developing it. They see the potential in it. And yes, this may not be the move. It may not be the next You know, it may not, we may still end up seeing the next Xbox, like the 720 or whatever it's going to be called, in the PlayStation 4 or whatever that's going to be called. We may see that generation still, but, you know, two maybe 3 generations, something's going to have to change. And whether, if you think that nothing changes in terms of this world and that big, that drastic, then you are either really young and naive or you're just stupid, because things always change. Competition changes, technology changes, and like, for instance, there's rumors, and it's quite plausible, rumors that either console, either PlayStation or Microsoft Xbox, or Xbox from Microsoft, you know what I mean, is going to move away from disc-based games. They're going to move to flash drives. Now, currently, flash drives don't necessarily have the same capacity. Actually, I think they do. They're something crazy, crazy high, the flash drives. Yeah, I think they are. I think they're actually really friggin', they're getting up there anyway. So the flash drives are already there, and you're talking about instant access to information rather than having to worry about moving parts. The less moving parts that you can actually have, like solid state sort of stuff, circuitry and stuff like that, which is, you know, back in the day, but the less mechanical things, the less, you know, discs spinning and all that stuff, reduces crashes, it reduces hardware malfunctions. So moving to a flash-based, you know, console may very well be in the near future. I'm not saying, again, I mean, it could be. It could be in the next big consoles for either Microsoft or Sony. And quite frankly, as a gamer, we really shouldn't care. The technology will continue to evolve. Those of you that use flash, I mean, I use flash drives for this, for recording this. Transfer it on my camera, plug it into my computer, upload it, there you go. And it does take some time to actually download it. But as you know, technology advances very fast. It's not unbelievable that these drives are going to, you know, if that's it, they're like, you know what, this is the future. Let's move away from the discs, which scratch, which friggin' have mechanical moving parts and cause headaches, and let's move to a future where it's, you know, that's it. It's on a chip, you put it in, and that's it. That's a very, very simple way to friggin' do it. I think it's a brilliant way to do it, and if they can increase the transfer speed of them, which no doubt they will, because they already have done that, what is it, USB 2.0 or whatever, or maybe it's even higher, I don't know, maybe you guys know. But you know for a fact in the future that these things are going to progress this way. But still, no matter what, no matter how you look at it, and there was it the versatile disc? I think it's the versatile disc. So it's the super capacity one. So you got a DVD that's like 9.6 gigabytes or something like that. You've got the Blu-ray disc, which is, I forget, like way more, 25 gigabytes at least, 25 gigabytes of storage capacity, so way beyond what the DVD is. And then you've got this versatile disc, and that's going to have, I think they said something like 50 terabytes. 50 terabytes! I mean, if they can create games that are going to require 50 terabytes of information, you're going to have one hell of a kick-ass game. It's going to look basically real. So I'd be actually excited to do that, but at the same time, you're dealing with the same thing. Moving parts, it's going to get scratched or whatever, and if they can create an equally effective and cost-effective, more specifically, thing like a flash drive that can use it and have the same sort of necessary storage capacity, or at least what we're going to require for gaming, then it makes sense to move to something like that. You know what I mean? You're going to have less issues. On the same note, companies like OnLive, you know, the console-less gaming system, which is gaining strength and it's moving, you know what? Something like that in the future, it may not sink. It's hard for a lot of us to sort of swallow right now, but it makes sense for manufacturers. It makes sense from their perspective. Less parts to actually, they control it. There's no updates. You know, there's no like, oh, requiring this update. There's no, I mean, there'll always be competition, because if everyone moves that way, there'll just be different console-less companies popping up. Microsoft and Sony. But anyway, the fact is that a lot of that stuff, you know, like, oh, well, it depends on your internet speed. Most of the gamers and the big hits, like Call of Duty Black Ops, is all multiplayer. And most of us want multiplayer. So, I mean, the argument that, oh, well, you need to have good internet or whatever. Well, no crap. If you don't have good internet, you're not even enjoying half the friggin' great games out there anyway. And majority of us actually play online. So, the fact that this system is offering you multiplayer with, you don't have to shell out $200-300 or like when Sony first came out, like $600 for a console, and all you got to do is pay this one-time fee to get the actual modem in and the controller, which is I think $99 right now. And right now they have no monthly fees. They've waived it, and I don't know if they're going to continue in the future. But think of it this way: I mean, you pay $50. You pay $50 a year for your service, your Xbox Live service, but not having to pay for a console. And it's still the cost. Like I did some quick working out of numbers and stuff like that. It is actually still more expensive, I think, unless you're going over like a period of maybe 10 years. I don't know. I didn't do the math on that. But I mean, these companies, it's the first one there, so they don't have that competition. They don't have that need to drive down prices. But if we move that way, if we move to a place where everything is updated automatically, we have all these games at the touch of our fingertips, plus they're moving on to TV now. They're moving on to a TV type modem or whatever, away from the internet. So that, again, I mean, the future is going to be vastly different from the way it is right now. And for those of you that don't get it or say, nah, it'll never happen, you're stupid. You're just ignorant. Stupid's a bad word. Ignorant. Ignorant is a lack of knowledge. Okay? Ignorant isn't like meaning you're freaking inbred and you drool out your mouth. The word ignorant just means lack of knowledge. So you're ignorant because there's no way in hell that the way that the video game industry is right now, the way that we buy our games, the way that we play our games, is going to be the same in 20 years from now. Absolutely not. It will not be anything like that. And if you think it is, you need to get out there a little bit more. And I'd probably say that you're probably too young to understand that. Maybe haven't seen a lot of changes. Anyway, that's it. So whether or not you believe it, whether or not, I mean, I personally think it would be kick-ass if you saw Microsoft and Sony create a super console. Because really, if it does move into the realm of OnLive and they're not having to develop consoles and they got all the big names backing them up and they make it cost effective, they're going to have to friggin' get together and make something that's going to keep people going to the console base. Maybe flash drives for sure. Anyway, that's it. I want to know what you guys think. I'm very curious because this is something we're kind of looking to the future, but definitely things are going to change. If you think things are going to stay the same, again, wow. Not too smart. Anyway, I'm Guns for Hire from NextGenTactics. Those are just my opinions. Peace. Get the latest updates and stay in touch with the NGT community with our all-new Facebook application. Check the description of the video for details.